Good evening, everyone. Here we are. It is, of course, the Defraud or Not Knows. Defraud or Not Knows, man. Hello, me people. What you doing? What you doing? It's bloody hot, isn't it? Bloody hot. So, good evening, everyone. Here we are. It's the Fruit News on, of course, a very, very hot Monday. I was going to say Sunday, but actually it's Monday. A very hot Monday. 22 people in the house. Fucking give over. 22 people. 2 twos. All the twos. 22. What else have we got today for, I don't know, nothing's really happening, to be honest. I mean, maybe I should just keep quiet and say fuck all. I don't know. What do you think? No? Maybe yes? I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, good evening, everyone. Hope we're all okay. Kelly Close is in the house. We've got Pam Keeneman Taylor's in. Glenn Pearson's in. Sue Allen's in. Sharon Young is in. Dave Hunter's in. Jason Thomas is joining us tonight as well. We've also got Stanley Knight in. Charlene Lamborghini's joining us tonight, all the way from the Lamborghini showroom. Looney Nina's in as well. Olivia's in. Ken Jim Tully's in. Commonly known as King John Hum. Mark Focass in. Lenny Frost is in. Pamela Green is in. How you doing, Pamela? Jackie J's in. Brenda Corcoran's in. Tom Nightingale, of course. An actual saint there. We've also got Steve Osborne in. Spots is in. Mary's in. And, of course, Valerie Mounier. Valerie Mounier. So, good evening, everyone. Hope we're all okay. As you all know, the grass keeps growing. Kid Rock is, of course, knocking on Memorial Day. It's bloody hot in the kitchen, let me tell you. And Ben and Jerry's have been jailed because their ice cream was far too hot today. So very, very interesting. So what have we got for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen, on this auspicious Memorial Day? So happy Memorial Day to all of our co-conspirators, of course, in the America Shire. We've had Donald Trump's been at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and basically has presented, I think it's a wreath that they do there, a bit like our Senate Day, you know what I mean? Remember World War II and all that. Quite an interesting one anyway, but yeah, and then we've got, I mean, this is just like beyond the pale. I mean, we're talking beyond the pale. This has got to be the funniest news that I've probably ever said. So we've got a trans person. Now, you know these types, you know, purple hair, you know, with pink highlights, maybe even yeah, you know the ones I mean, dressed a bit funny, act a bit funny, literally are actually a bit fucking funny. So, very interesting characters they are. And apparently in America, a trans person was outraged and is suing the pharmaceutical testing company. I got fucking no idea. In regards to a DNA test. Now, this trans person obviously transitioned from a man to a woman, was given a pair of tits, and probably had some kind of a, I don't know, a space drilled down below, as you do, after going through some horrendous surgery that they have to go through, which is not for the faint-hearted. And I'll tell you another story about that in a second. But yeah, it used to be known as a nip and tuck. Now it's I think now it's a fuck them up one. Anyway, so this woman basically is massively outraged. DNA test comes back from the DNA lab, and it basically proved that she was a man. Even though, of course, she's transitioned to a woman. Now, I don't know about you, but the mentality of this seems to be rather strange. I mean, why would you assume that a DNA test is all of a sudden going to change overnight when you've had a cock sewn on? Sorry, a cock taken off and a pair of tits implanted. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, God did say there are only two genders. Nobody seemed to be listening, especially the LGBT2, whatever you want to call them, trans crowd. Unfortunately, the DNA tests. So very interesting. Now, in regards to trans people, and this is on a serious note, ladies and gentlemen. Not very often I'm serious, but yes, on a serious note, okay, there is very, very little talk, okay, about the amount of people that actually regret transitioning further down the line. Okay, so there's a lot of talk. There's a lot of talk about, well, we need to do this and we need to chop cocks off and sew tits on and get all the puberty blockers out there and do all the bullshit that they do. But there's very, very little talk about the people that actually regret it. Now, I'm led to believe, and don't even ask me where I got this figure from, because it just pops up somewhere along the fucking line, as it does. I'm under the impression that somewhere around about 65% of trans people regret transitioning, obviously after everything has gone on. It really, really is horrendous. There's no other word to describe it. So we should be keeping this shit definitely away from our young boys and girls who can be rather influenced, especially by stupid parents, stupid teachers, and stupid politicians who actually have got no fucking idea. Very, very interesting. Anyway, now this could only happen in America. I wouldn't be surprised if it's coming to. It does not in the UK at the moment, because of course we don't have the insurance system in America that they have in regards to Medicaid, whatever you want to call it. So an American man, desperate for no job, etc. No medical insurance, no way of getting sorted out. Apparently he needed surgery. I'm not quite sure what it was, but anyway, he decided that it would be a good idea to rob a bank. Now, he went into the bank, I'm presuming with a gun or some kind of a weapon, and he threatened the cashier that if she didn't give him $1, he was going to commit robbery, and of course the police were called. The man sat down quietly in reception, waiting for the police to arrive. The judge heard the story, and instead of acquitting the case, the judge actually granted him 3 years in prison. Now, what this did was really interesting. This allowed him to actually get the medical stuff that he needed, and also the treatment that he needed as well. And after 3 years, he was asked, was it worth it? And he said, oh, yes, it definitely was. He said, while I was in prison, he said, I was looked after like a king, 3 meals a day, exercise, no TV license, no BBC wallers knocking on the fucking door, no bailiffs, no council tax, no heating, no lighting, no food. He didn't have to pay for food. Rent free, no rent. He didn't have to pay any rent either. And he walked out basically fully cured, whatever treatment he had. And he was a pretty happy chappy. Now, I don't know about you, but I actually think that's actually quite a great idea, if you are, of course, struggling. But anyway, that's another story. Now, this is going to throw up quite a bit of controversy, but I'm going to say it anyway. Apparently, it's being touted that Donald Trump is inviting Iran to join the Abraham Accords. Now, the Abraham Accords are quite interesting. This is the Noahide laws. If you know anything about that, this is all about the bullshit that's against the Christians, using the Khazarian Islamic rule, etc. We are led to believe that Donald Trump joined Judaism a while ago, which is actually a false due. So that's quite an interesting one in its own right. Now, then there is, of course, the other side of the coin, which could be completely different. So the only thing that I suggest is that people just wait and see what happens and don't jump to any conclusions about stuff. That's all we can do. Now, meanwhile, apparently the BBC are apparently employing a raft of debt collectors to collect the BBC TV license. Now, apparently, they're never going to admit this, but I would say that probably there is maybe about 70 to 80% of the people in the UK now don't pay the TV license. The oldies generally do because they're like been brought up with it. Young ones fucking have none of it. Anyway, so what the BBC have done, BBC have slapped on the scare tactics. Okay, and basically are threatening the country with debt collectors. If you've ever had any BBC paraphernalia, they always do. They do this incredible thing where they say, I'll tell you because I get them. They'll send you a letter and it says, "Are you in on April the 19th?" Right? So we are coming to visit you, right? So are you going to be in on April the 19th if, of course, you were scared? And the answer is no. You're going to fuck off out for the day, aren't you? Right? But this is standard protocol. So this letter comes, are you going to be in on April the 19th? Because debt collectors are in your area and they will be paying you a visit. What an absolute crock of shit. There's no debt collectors in the area. Nobody's going to be coming to your house, okay, because they've got no legal standing anyway, and they can't do that unless, of course, you happen to get a complete and utter pisswit who is adamant on trying to get your signature on a bit of paperwork. I fell for this many years ago. I was only about 19, 20 at the time. I didn't really understand what the crack was. But anyway, if I hadn't to sign that paperwork, okay, then nothing would have happened. Unfortunately, I didn't know that at the time. Okay, and of course, they're also trying to, get to wrap in Netflix and Amazon Prime into the viewing sort of tally as well, so that anybody viewing Netflix and Amazon Prime is apparently being targeted by, of course, the BBC. But actually, there is no legal standing for this, and you should already know that. You don't really need me to be telling you that. Okay, so very, very interesting. Now, let me give you some figures on debt collectors in general. Okay, so debt collectors are generally not the brightest people in the box. A little bit like police officers and judges and lawyers and all those kind of people. So not the best people in the box, not really the smartest. Anyway, so the average lifespan of a debt collector in a company is around about 3 months. And what happens is they join with the lights going and the fucking fanfare, and you're going to do this and you're going to do that and you're going to do the other. And then in actual fact, when it comes to the actual job, which is one of the worst jobs on the planet, there are very few people that are able to stomach the misery and the abuse that they get from collecting money, especially from old age people, etc., etc., etc. You know what I mean? Anyway, so what happens is that karma generally gets them. And it gets them in all kinds of ways. I've heard loads of stories about this, okay? So let's be clear. karma is going to freaking sort them out. Now, you're going to get the odd one or two enthusiastic fucking wingmen who maybe think that they, the God's gift to women, and they're going to show a bit of authority and people are going to back down. There's always them. You're always going to get them. But stand your ground, tell them to fuck off, and you don't want anything to do with them. That's the best way to deal with him. And, they basically get the idea, at the end of the day. And it's a similar situation within the police service now, and also the military. What is happening now is that people, okay, because people are waking up, people are becoming more and more awake as to what's going on, and et cetera. This also means that the police and the military are also waking up too. They are also able to see the bullshit. They're also able to see all of the corruption and all that. So this is what's happening. And once again, the police service won't talk about it. But I think it's somewhere in the region of 50% of police officers are leaving the force due to the political turmoil. Same with the army. The SAS, I think it was the SAS the other day, have lost somewhere in the region of 35% of their SAS people because they're just so... what should we say? So confused with what's going on, and I don't blame them. So that's kind of what's happening, in this thing. Now, let's go to the housing situation in regards to not just Labour but also the Conservatives. Okay, just going back to the military. In regards to Ant Middleton. Now, you will have seen a speech done by Ant Middleton. I would say that it was probably maybe a year ago, and he came out and admitted that there were 60,000 men that were ready to go. Okay? They were ready to go. Not only in the military, but outside of the military, ex-forces, etc. And I would imagine that they could easily be joined by people like myself and other people, I suppose, that would support that movement. Okay, so this, of course, is Ant Middleton. Now, when Ant Middleton is telling you that 60,000 men are on standby, and he happens to be ex-SAS, I would sort of say that he's bang on the money. Now, Labour, or should we say politicians, this is the house building thing. Now, Labour and Conservative have promised to build, X amount of houses. I don't really care, but they promised to build X amount of houses in regards to putting up people, so to speak, new houses, etc., new people, blah blah blah. Now, the latest estimate are telling us that 50% of the housing stock that has been built has already been taken by illegal migrants, illegal criminals, illegal rapists, illegal rape gang people, and also illegal people traffickers. That's the latest. Okay, so very, very interesting. It's not all doom and gloom, no. It's not all doom and gloom. You might think it is, but actually it's not. So then let's look at Torbay. Now, we told you about Torbay this morning. We did say that Torbay was on the verge of a renaissance. And this, of course, is the fact that the government apparently are pledging £1.44, I think it was, 66. Oh, 64. £1.64, okay, from the cost of having a day out in Torbay. Now, apparently, the Torbay people have been absolutely on the streets celebrating this this situation. Now, £1.64. So we did a little bit of probing, and we found out that £1.64 equates to 3 licks of a 99 ice cream with 2 flakes in it. Fucking hilarious, absolutely hilarious. And so big celebrations in Torbay tonight, and for all you people in Torbay, all I can say is fill your boots and enjoy. Now, meanwhile, of course, NASA, apparently NASA's latest statement is to go deeper into your anus. Absolutely fucking hilarious. Deeper into your anus. Well, I mean, that could have serious connotations. However, Keir Starmer will probably be very happy. Mr. Macron will be delighted. Mr. Merckx, of course, from Germany, will also be tootling around and doing cartwheels, and probably numerous other members of Parliament will be looking forward to to NASA getting deeper into the anus area. So very, very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. And then we have Tina Peters. Now, Tina Peters, of course, as you well know, has been is being freed from prison in about 7 days' time. What she actually did, she actually pointed out the election fraud in Colorado. Now, remember, this woman was absolutely lambasted by the powers that be, and ended up finding herself in prison. I hope that somewhere along the line, Mr. Trump has stepped in and sorted the job out, which is what we need to. Now, bear in mind, right, this is a grandmother, not dissimilar to the amount of grandmothers and granddads and people that have been jailed in the UK for Facebook posts. Interesting. And then, of course, we have good old Nicola Sturgeon. Nicola Sturgeon happens to have turned up again, not so much out of the blue, but should we say, ex-husband has turned up, and it seems as though Peter has been a very interesting boy. Now, you will remember there was an arrest of Nicola Sturgeon. I think it was a couple of years ago now. There was some form of a motorhome used. We did think it was for political dogging, but that news story didn't really go anywhere, because, of course, we couldn't find out who was swapping who. Anyway, so £400,000 apparently was robbed. We think it was more, but this was from the Scottish National Party coffers. So this is quite an interesting one. Now, you probably want to know what some of the money was spent on. Well, here's a bit of a list. £2,000 was spent on video games. Well done, Peter. Let's hope you got better at it. £5,000 was spent on expensive coffee machines and also coffee beans from around the world. Seems as though Peter was an entrepreneur coffee drinker, so to speak. And then, of course, there was £20,000 on luxury watches. Nicola Sturgeon wasn't involved in this, of course, but the watches were his and hers. Very interesting. Oh, and £20,000 not only on luxury watches, but also fucking pens. I mean, pens. I mean, you know, this pen here cost me about 10p. It probably fucking writes just as much as a £5,000 to £10,000 one. Know what I mean? You don't need to spend a lot of money to write shit. You know what I mean? Follow the pen, as they say in the trade. Anyway, and then, of course, there was the £100,000, apparently, that was spent on a motorhome that was the official Scottish motorhome dogging vehicle. Very interesting. Now, of course, we're not sure whether Nicola is into dogging, swapping, wife. We don't really care. We're not bothered. You know, to be honest, they can spend the money on what they like. They can actually do what they like. Apart from the fact that rob people out of good earned money, traffic fucking children, abuse children, and all that shit. Okay? You know. Anyway, you want to throw, you want to throw your keys in at a local party. That's entirely up to you. Leave the fucking kids alone. That's all I say. And this was, of course, the stolen money from the Scottish National Party a few years ago. And remember, the story went very, very quiet. Can you remember? Let's have a look at oil prices. Now, apparently, oil prices have fallen quite dramatically over the last few days in regards to the Iranian deal. Nobody's actually seen the Iranian deal yet. Lots of people are speculating about the Iranian deal, and let's continue to let them speculate. Okay, my sort of remit about this is, listen, let's just sit back 40,000 feet, watch the shit hit the fan, and see what happens. Unfortunately, so many people don't seem to be able to actually do that, which is quite surprising. Bear in mind that we're supposed to be on a truther channel, and we're supposed to be truthers, and we're supposed to be knowing, shit. Know what I mean? So very interesting. I'm just taking my boots off here because I'm actually getting fucking very hot feet. So I've actually got thermal socks on, which sounds ridiculous. But of course I've been grass cutting today, which means that my feet have got quite hot. Oh, that's better. So that's one off. Okay. Now, remember that, of course, if you are on the BBC, of course, I mean, you don't get this kind of coverage. Let me just get my leg in. Look, I'm taking my boot off. Look, there you go. You don't get this. I mean, Fiona Bruce. When do you see Fiona Bruce taking her boots off, or even her stilettos? You never do. Oh, that's better. Oh man, that's a lot better. There you go. Look, check them babes out. Okay, there we go. Right, that's better. Oh, cool floor. Cool down. Anyway, back to the news. Oil prices down. Very interesting. Strait of Hormuz may or may not be open. We're not kind of too sure yet. We can just wait and see. The only time that we will know oil prices are down is when when petrol and diesel prices drop to around about 3p a litre. Oh, yes, it's coming. Oh, fucking yes, it's coming. Know what I mean? It's coming. Now, we have heard on the grapevine, and we can't confirm this, of course, but apparently Germany wants to leave the EU. Oh, that's quite interesting. This is to do with I think it's the German National Party or something. Is it the AfD or something like that? They're hell-bent on leaving the EU simply because of yes, Angela Merkel. Fucking hell. I mean, she was the idiot that flooded the European market with people from other countries. Now, I'm not actually against this, but what I do think would be a better idea is to basically make sure that the countries that these people are from are being looked after and trading properly on an international level. Now, let's do a little bit of some work here. I know it's difficult. It's fucking Monday evening. You've all had a few beers and a barbecue. You've had a bit too much sun and you don't want to. Now, let's just take into consideration France. Now, Africa has some very interesting gold. It also has some very interesting diamonds. It also has some very interesting minerals. And all of those commodities are basically mined from Africa, right? Okay. Now, France happened to buy the majority of African diamonds, let's just say for a second, okay? Now, they give a very small amount of money to Africa for those diamonds or the gold or the minerals or whatever. Then what they do, the French, or should we say the West, then sell those diamonds on the open market for probably somewhere in the region of, I don't know, 4,000 or 5,000% more than they've paid. So let's imagine that they buy a diamond for £100. They probably sell that diamond for £100,000. And this is the irony of what's happening, not just in Africa, but also in other countries in the world, around the world. And this, of course, leads us basically to a very unlevel playing field. Now, wouldn't it be interesting if Africa got paid the correct amount of money for their diamonds, gold and minerals, and then we could see what African people could actually do in their own country. That's my philosophy. It won't change. I think and I hope that it's Donald Trump's strategy. And as we move forward, we will, of course, find out. So now, in the United States of America, a teacher decided that making children pledge allegiance to the pride flag was a great idea. Unfortunately, what she didn't realise that this was quite offensive to many people, and she ended up getting fired. Not a very clever thing to do from a pride advocate. Anyway, meanwhile, as you well know, Iran, just going back to Iran, Iran also was funded by Obama by about 1.7 billion. This was to clearly create instability, etc., etc. And of course, as you well know, Iran, of course, is the proxy company. And when we talk about proxies, we talk about, it's like what I call a ghost country. Iran is a ghost country that is used to create war and, all that. Now, remember that Iran also sets the oil price around the world. Now, of course, Iran is run by London, Lloyds of London, British Petroleum as it used to be, etc., etc. And they, of course, set the oil prices around the world. Now, the interesting part about this is that there happens to be a certain pipeline that runs across the United Arab Emirates. I think it's around 1,500 miles. Don't quote me on that. But it's going to bypass the Strait of Hormuz. So even if Iran have got the Strait of Hormuz locked and loaded, it really doesn't matter because that oil will still be transferring. And also, let's not forget that the UK, despite all of the Russian rhetoric against President Putin, etc., 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 it seems as though Keir Starmer and his friends of Israel are buying vast amounts of oil from, of course, Russia, which, when you think about it, doesn't make any sense, but in actual fact it does. Because, of course, the MPs can't run out of fuel because, of course, they won't be able to fly around the world Wouldn't that be fucking nice? Wouldn't that be fucking nice? And anyway, officials in London have concluded that Sadiq Khan is basically living under a rock. Now, for all those people in the know, we already fucking knew that. But yes, officials are now saying that Sadiq Khan is living under a rock and turning a blind eye to the rape gangs, the knife gangs, and the crime that is being committed on the streets of London. Very, very interesting. So it seems as though officially now, Sadiq Khan is kind of having his shirt tails pulled, so to speak. Now, let me get into something very, very important. This is all about a post that I did earlier today, and it was about now let me get this fucking right. I might even have to go onto my own feed to actually find out what it was. But this was an incident involving streaming. Okay. Now, the good book, the good Bible says to us, find a way to serve the many. Service to many leads to greatness. It doesn't say find a way to serve yourself. It doesn't say will lead to greatness. It says find a way to serve the many. So the question is, how do you serve the many? Now, you could argue that I'm serving the many by presenting. That could be a good argument. Not many people really when it comes to global reach, but probably enough. So, I'm doing my part in serving the many. Okay. And it also comes to basically the fact that it's all about, helping others, and it's all about taking notice of the universe. Now, the universe is, of course, always sending you messages. Whether or not you want to read those messages, whether or not you want to interpret those messages, is entirely, of course, up to you. Now, you can ignore them if you want. That's fine by me. It's fine by God, fine by the fucking universe. You can it's free will on this planet. You can do exactly what you fucking want. Okay? So, here's the deal, right? The universe sends you messages. The universe sends you things. It's whether or not you're prepared not only to make the changes that are necessary, but also listening and learning from the messages that you send. And for anybody on this channel, or for anybody else that tells me that this is a load of bollocks, well, I'm telling you, you're not even nowhere near spiritual. Okay, so today, I'm going to tell you two stories. Okay, the first story I'm going to tell you is a story about my mum. I've told this story before, but I'm going to repeat it because it's quite an interesting one. So my mum obviously was very ill. We'd been waiting in a hospital and for about a week. They'd put her on the Liverpool care pathway. She had cancer, was really suffering badly, and they put her in a side room, made her feel comfortable. I didn't really understand what the Liverpool care pathway was at the time, but of course it's basically killing people. That's all it is, and that's what it means. And don't even run away from that idea that it isn't, because it is. Okay, so it's sort of we've been there 4 days from the Tuesday. It's Friday night, around about 10 o'clock. I decide, listen, I said to my two sisters, listen, I need to go and have a kip. I'm absolutely knackered. Didn't sleep. We were sleeping on the floor. We were sleeping in the waiting rooms. It was just horrendous. They don't have any beds. Well, they don't now anyway. And anyway, so I went home and I said to my sister, listen, give me a call. Anything happens, I'm there. I'm only about half hour away from the hospital. So anyway, gets me head down. Woke up round about sort of half 2 in the morning, somewhere around there. I'd slept quite well actually. So I was just making a cup of tea, and We're getting round about sort of about half 3, 4 in the morning now, and sister phones me, listen, you got to come to hospital straight away. Anyway, jump in the van, off I go, scooting off, and I'm driving to Mansfield Hospital. When you come through to drive to Mansfield Hospital, you have to come through Sherwood Forest, and the road that's been created has got banks on the side of it, and there's forest either side. They've cut through the forest to get this bypass in. Anyway, as I'm coming around this corner, it's a long, sweeping left-handed corner. As I come around this corner, I see this deer. And this deer is with a little fawn. And I immediately take my foot off because I'm thinking they're going to scoot. This deer and that's going to scoot. Anyway, as I sort of slow down and I get sort of like in eye contact with this deer looks at me. Fucking thing looked at me straight in the fucking eye, right? I'm telling you, at that moment, I knew that my mum had passed away, right? Don't know why, just got this feeling, okay? So anyway, I continued to sort of accelerate away very slowly, and then the deer, as I'm watching in the wing mirror, the deer passed behind me and crossed the road, went into the woods, out the way. Anyway, 2 seconds later, I get a phone call from my sister, Mark, listen, mum's passed away, you've missed her. And so that was the universe talking to me in a various different way. Anyway, the second story is what I'm going to tell you today. So I'm driving back from work. It's fucking hot. It was hot today, actually. I don't make no bones about it. It was very hot, and I was coming towards the house, and I noticed this guy on the side of the road, and his house backs onto the main road, and there's quite a big area that the council is supposed to cut. Do they fuck? Okay, and he's a proud man. He looks after his house, and you could tell by the way that he looks after his edges and all that kind of thing. So anyway, I sort of pull, I'm driving away, and he leans on the trimmer, and he kind of looked at me, and I just got this feeling that he needs some help. So anyway, I drive to the roundabout, I turn around and I come back, and I'm thinking, fucking hell, he must be fucking bored. He's got a little strimmer, this guy's been there all day. So I jump out the van, I go, listen, mate, do you want me to help give you an hand, cutting the rest of this stuff? He's fucking been there all day from about 8 o'clock this morning. Right, he's 84 years old. Harry is his name. He's got a bit of cancer going on. Clearly, he's fucking hell doing well. He's been there since 8 o'clock. I'm like going, fucking hell. I was wondering I'm passed out. Anyway, so I get the strimmer out. I've got a big petrol one, so that's a strimmer, by the way, not anything else. Anyway, so I start doing it. It takes me somewhere around about 20 minutes to finish off what he'd started, and he's like, thank you very much, Mark, blah, 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 blah. And the reason that I told the story was not because I want people to go, oh, well done, Mark, It's because I think that people need to understand that they need to listen to the universe, and they need to listen to what's being said in order to hear the messages that are coming through. And these are distinct messages that are coming through. You'll get them if you're listening. Unfortunately, if your head's full of fucking noise and bullshit, you won't hear them. And so, the moral of the story is really, if you get the opportunity to help, if you get the opportunity presented to you, don't turn it down. Don't turn it down. It might take you 10 minutes. It might take you half an hour. At the end of the day, what's half an hour? What's half an hour in a day? And the interesting part about it, I did it for him. His wife was absolutely elated. She tried to get me pissed on fucking whiskey, which is quite an interesting one for a Monday afternoon. Oh, do you want a tot of whiskey? No, you're all right. Honestly, really, it's 4 o'clock. I'll be pissed on that. Anyway, so so I get a phone call, and he said to me, listen, I really, really appreciate it. Would you be able to take over the cutting of the verge, in order to keep it tidy? And of course, I said, yeah, of course I can, no problem whatsoever. I'll do it for you. Maybe once every 3 weeks or something like that. I said, how much will it cost me? I said, listen, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I said, I'll give you my bank details. I'll cut it for you every 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. So give it a quick trim off for you. I said, you just pay me what you think it's worth. It's entirely up to you. I don't care. Well, I need to know I need to know how much I can pay you. I said, look, just pay me what you can. You know, you obviously you're clearly not very well, so it'll be my pleasure to do it, whether you pay me or not. You know, I said, give me a present, whatever that present is, I'll be quite happy with that. So he was like, went away, he was happy, I was happy, every fucking body's happy. But the thing is that it's a story that is worthy of telling. Not because of the kudos, but because it's all about helping other people and helping them get to a position where, you know, they may or may not need to be. You know, they can. I mean, Harry could have accepted it or he could have declined it. It's free will. It's entirely up to him. And as you know, as true for people, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be there for people. We're supposed to help people. We're supposed to offer like advice. Do you know what I mean? You know, and all that kind of thing. And it's worthy. It's worthy of doing. And there's one lesson that I had to learn myself personally, and this was the lesson of giving. And it was the lesson, it's a lesson that's written in the good book and all that shit. But actually, it's not very well covered in real life. And it's the power of giving. And it's the power of sharing that energy and that time and all that kind of thing with other people. And it says, I think it says in the good book, something along the lines of if you give, you receive back sevenfold. It's not, of course, not talking about money. It's not talking about presents. It's not talking about that. It's talking about the art of giving, the noble art of giving. And I think that actually it ought to be taught more in mainstream, mainstream sort of classrooms and stuff like that. And a great point has just been made there, which is about it's the art of giving freely without any expectation of any return. Okay, that's an important thing to for you to remember. So listen, have a great day. Okay, have a great night. You're going to be sweating your balls off, and you're going to be sweating your tits off if you're a woman. Let me tell you, because it's absolutely roasting. Anyway, have a great evening. Enjoy yourself. Apparently, it's going to be twice as hot tomorrow. Fucking, I shit you not. Yeah. Let's wait and see. As you can see by my face, I've actually caught the sun. I was in it for a few hours yesterday. I was in it for a few hours today, and I am actually very careful about the sun because you can go from a quiet sizzling to fucking burning very quickly. So yeah. Anyway, listen, take care. We will see you all again. We will see you all again tomorrow. Now, tomorrow, of course, is the 26th of May, 2026. Oh, 26. Very interesting. Anyway, we're not quite sure what's going to happen. And to be honest, we don't really care. And what will be, as they say in the trade. Anyway, love you loads. We will see you all again tomorrow. Have a great evening and take care. See you, bye.